What's going on, everyone? Coach Damien here, the Shift Method Personal Training. Hope you're having a great day. Coming to you with another YouTube video. And you know, we've had kind of a series talking about different aches and pains that y'all might be dealing with and how to kind of work through them. Well, today we're going to be talking about knee pain, a very common thing that people deal with, whether it's just day-to-day in their life or trying to train in the gym. And so I want to make this video that if you're someone who's dealing with some general knee pain, how can you kind of do a progression of different squats to ultimately help you get back in the gym, help you get training, and help you accomplish your goals. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what other types of videos y'all want to see that are kind of related to exercise, maybe some aches and pains, and how I can help kind of coach y'all and guide y'all through them so you can work out and feel good. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do, very brief anatomy here. I'm just gonna show a little bit of a picture of the knee joint and what it kind of looks like. Again, knee pain can occur for a lot of different reasons. It can be because maybe you have an old injury. It could be that you have an overuse issue where you're kind of sedentary for quite a bit. There's a lot of different factors that can happen. And while I'm not gonna get into extremely great detail about a specific type of knee injury, I'm just gonna talk generally about knee pain overall, meaning whether it's on your patella or deep inside the knee joint, maybe you dealt with a meniscus injury, whatever it may be, you know, maybe you have some issues doing a squat in general. You try and get into a deep squat or maybe close to 90 degrees and you're like, man, anytime I go like close to parallel or halfway down the squat, my knee just starts screaming at me and I don't know what to do. Now, of course, this isn't medical advice. Always consult your doctor. Always be sure to talk with a physical therapist. But if you just kind of have some generalized knee pain that isn't associated with a recent injury, I'm going to give you guys a warm-up and a progression of squat exercises here that's hopefully going to help your knee feel better. So that way, again, you can start training more and more and ultimately accomplish your goals. All right, so briefly here, I'm going to show y'all what the warm-up is going to look like so y'all can kind of check it out. So we're going to do a nice thorough warm-up for our lower body, specifically getting the muscles of the knee joint activated and ready to go. So what we're going to start with is a treadmill walk for about 2 minutes. RPE is going to be 4 to 5. Remember, RPE is that 1 to 10 scale. 1, I'm sitting on the couch watching my favorite show. 10 is I'm sprinting max effort, so a moderate pace of 4 to 5. Then we're going to do some straight leg crab walks. You see me talk about crab walks before. This is going to be where my legs are straight, and I'll explain why later. We're going to do some pull squats to help get good range of motion, and then we're going to do some mobility with some knee hugs and some figure fours to get the knee and hip joint a little bit looser. So let's go ahead and jump right into the warm-up. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is our 2-minute treadmill walk. Again, it's always good as like a general portion of your warm-up is to raise your heart rate, get your breathing up a little bit. Obviously, today we're focusing on squats in the lower body, so my cardio is lower body based. Again, I'm just cruising here for 2 minutes just to get some blood flow to the area so that I'm prepared to do some work later.
Next, we're going to be doing some crab walks, but we're going to do them with a straight leg. Some people call them penguin walks.
Again, if your knee is bothering you kind of going into kind of that half squat or deep squat, this is a great way to kind of warm up the glutes and the quads without having to bend the knees too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a resistance loop. You can have it very light or you can make it heavy depending on whatever you need. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to get it around my ankles here. From there, I'm just going to keep my legs extended. I'm actually going to engage my quads, right? I'm not just kind of laxly standing up tall. I'm actually going to actively straighten my legs, have my quads engaged. Core is nice and tight. And then I'm going to step down for 10 and then come back for 10 reps. So let me show you. My last activation exercise is going to be a pull squat. Now, get your mind out of the gutter now, right? This is an activation exercise, right? It's not Tuesday night and I'm short on money. This is a different situation here. So for this one, you can use anything, but you want something that is stable that you can control with your body weight. What essentially I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab onto the pole, keep my chest up nice and tall, and you're gonna slowly go down as far as you can to where you're not exacerbating your knee pain. So for some people, maybe it's only coming down to about half or a quarter way, but I can also use my upper body to help give me a little bit of support, take a little bit of pressure off the knee. If it feels good to where you can actually use your upper body to help you, maybe you get closer to parallel or a little deeper, and then you're just gonna climb up, letting your upper body support you. Again, we're doing 10 reps here. now for the mobility portion of our warm-up, we got 2 moves here. First one's gonna be some knee hugs. Good for getting some mobility for our hip flexors. Again, all you're gonna do here is grab the knee, hug it in as high as you can, and then you're just gonna alternate every step. If it's a little bit tough to get there, you can just raise the knee as high as you can, or maybe you can only grab with one arm, pull up as high as you can. You do whatever you gotta do, but we're gonna do 10 reps on each side. And last but not least, is gonna be some figure 4s. Again, really good for the hip joint, getting some more mobility for our glutes, and that's gonna be where we grab the shin, pull up as high as we can, trying to get the shin as close to parallel to the floor as possible. Take a step and switch sides every time. And again, if you can't get it too high up, you can just grab by the ankle or by the knee, try and pull up a little bit, but again, trying to get that shin as high as possible. 10 on each side here to finish up the warm-up. All right, now that we're all warmed up and ready to go, and really in South Florida, you really don't need much of a warm up if you're outside because it says it's 86 degrees. That feels like a lie. But now that we're kind of toasted, ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and start with our first progression for a squat, and that's gonna be a TRX box squat. So if you're unfamiliar, TRX is this suspension training system. Basically what that means is this kind of band system here that allows you to either make an exercise a little easier or a little bit harder. For us, this is great because we can use it to kind of assist our upper body to make the exercise a little bit easier. And now we take a little bit of pressure off our knees for the time being until we build a little bit more strength and resiliency in that area. Now, again, if you don't have a TRX at your gym or have access to it, that's fine. You can use something like a stable pole like we did in the warm-up, a wall, a barbell or a squat rack. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but hopefully you have access to a TRX so you can kind of do exactly what I'm doing here. From there, all you need is a box or some kind of bench to help set you up. Ideally somewhere about knee height, but again, if going too low hurts, you can always raise it up to be a little bit higher. So now for the setup, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my feet about shoulder width apart. Again, everyone's squat stance is gonna be slightly different for a variety of reasons, but just outside shoulder width, toes turned out about 15 degrees is always a safe place to start, and then you play around for comfort. From there, I'm gonna have my elbows pinned in nice and tight, and keep my chest up nice and tall. From here, unlike a traditional squat where I would more so let my knees track forward and drop straight down, that is ideally what we want to work to, but just for the time being, to get used to this exercise, maybe take a little pressure off the knee, we're actually gonna focus on sitting our butt back a little bit more. And that's also why the TRX is cool, because if I was just doing body weight and I sat back, I might lose my balance. But if I have the TRX here, I'm able to kind of stabilize, let my upper body help me out, and kind of push most of my body weight back behind me. A little more emphasis on the glutes, whereas my knees maybe aren't doing as much work for the time being. So again, I'm here, elbows pinned in, I'm sitting my butt back, tapping the bench, coming back up, and using my upper body as much or as little as I need to kind of control how the pain feels in my knee. Now again, once you got that down, you found out a good range of motion, you found a good amount of upper body support. Now I can more so do that traditional squat where my knees track forward a bit, and it's a little bit more emphasis on the quads. The knees are working a little bit more here to hopefully more so mimic that traditional squat and getting used to it right here on the TRX. All right, so we got the TRX box squat down. Now we're gonna progress this to a heels elevated goblet box squat. So for this move, again, you're gonna need your box again, setting it to the range of motion that's appropriate for you, ideally around knee height so you can get close to parallel. And then you're gonna need something to elevate your feet slightly. Here I'm using kind of a steel ramp, but you can use plates, you can use lifting shoes, whatever you have available to you, something that's just gonna give yourself about an inch or so elevation for your heels off the ground. Now, the reason we have this is because a lot of times when people squat, a common mistake I see, and it's not a bad thing, it's context dependent, right? Some people do this intentionally for specific sport reasons or for specific reasons for their knee, but generally in a squat, I don't want to have my heels come off the ground. It puts a lot of demand on the knees and quads, which if we're already having excessive knee pain, maybe not the best thing to start out. So I'm squatting and my heels are coming up, and now I don't have the TRX to support me. Well, now I have this ramp set up here to where when I put kind of the back third of my foot, pretty much the entirety of my heel on it, it allows me to still let my knees track forward, but keep that flat point of contact on the ground and ultimately still work the squat in a general way, which is what I'm trying to do here. So you can either do body weight, or now that we feel kind of maybe comfortable after the TRX, now we're gonna load it a little bit and we're gonna do a goblet squat. So from here, I'm holding the kettlebell by what we call the horns, right? The sides right here. My elbows are glued nice and tight, pulling that kettlebell close to my chest. And then from here, we're just gonna sink our butt down, let the knees track forward. As soon as our butt makes contact with the bench, we're coming right back up. And kind of the last exercise that we're going to do in our squat progression is going to be a Smith machine squat. Now, very similar to the TRX, this machine compared to a traditional barbell back squat allows me to kind of have a little bit more freedom with where I place my feet. And so initially when you start, just like we did with the TRX, I'm actually going to move my feet a little bit forward so I don't drop down where my knees are directly tracking over my toes. Again, it's not a bad thing, but we'll take a little more pressure off the quads, off the knees. And then as you get comfortable with that movement, we're gonna bring our feet more so directly underneath us, let our knees track forward, and ultimately put more demand on those quads and knees, which is what we want to kind of progress in the right way for a squat. So let me show you first what it looks like with the feet moved forward. So I'm gonna start by getting underneath my barbell here, right? I wanna have it at roughly about collarbone height. I know that's a good way. Looking at the safety latches here, I wanna be able to roll them back, right? So when I have it on my back, I'm rolling my arms back. That way I know I'm in a good position. Make sure my hands are the same distance from each other. I'm gonna get this bar right at the top of my shoulders, kind of resting on the upper part of those straps. And again, I'm gonna kind of over exaggerate, walk my feet forward quite a bit, same stance, feet a little bit outside shoulder width, toes turned out slightly. And now I'm just gonna go through my squat like I did for the TRX. And again, if you can only go down, halfway here, that's totally fine. Maybe you just start with the bar. Absolutely, totally fine to start there. Just work with the range of motion that feels good for the knee right here. Now to kind of close the progression up, so now I got comfortable with the feet moving forward. Now I'm gonna get them directly under me, just like a traditional squat. I'm gonna go down as low as I can. So let me show you what that looks like. And that's it, everyone. Thank y'all so much, as always, for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps out. Check out the daily content we got on the socials, on Instagram Reels. We got YouTube Shorts, and of course, we got YouTube videos coming out every other week. The next one that is coming out is actually going to be a really good one where I'm interviewing Mr. Johnny O, the owner of the gym here. So be sure to check out that one because it was a phenomenal conversation. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.